already know the drill. We back again with another episode of Buckle Up with the Boys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. So strap on your seatbelts, because it's all pedal to the metal from here. And without further ado, your amazing host, Drew, Billy.
Ooh. Voila. There we go. I'm still getting the hang of this, all this videography stuff, but we're getting there. We're getting there, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm here. I'm here live and in living color, wearing the most beautiful shirt on planet Earth, the Steelers NFL draft shirt. And I have some good news to pass along to you folks. Billy had his kid. He didn't catch the Facebook, Instagram posts, whatever he tossed out there. I want to make sure I get the name right. Give him a special shout out, him and Taylor. Adeline Marie Billy. Adeline Marie Billy, born 12:19 p.m. on last Thursday. 9 pounds, 2 ounces, baby. And Taylor, all healthy, all good to go. So big round of applause for Taylor. Big round of applause for Billy. And we obviously wish them a lifetime of love toward the child, and hopefully that child grows up to be the happiest and healthiest of all children on the face of planet Earth. But anyway, wanted to pass along those congratulations before I officially got started into my material. Be a little bit shorter of a night for y'all. I don't have a SummerSlam to recap this time around. So we're just going to run through our NFL season predictions. We're going to run through my power rankings. We're covering future Hall of Famers with that. And some headlines that I've been kind of just knocking around the head that, I figure I need to express on here. Might as well do that. And of course, eat list, shit list, be a man, and the whole 9 yards. You'll be with me for this week and next week. Billy will return. Would it be the 25th, 2 weeks from today, the 25th. And even then, we're probably going to abridge the episodes a little bit just to forewarn y'all. He does have a child now to take care of. So just, forewarning of that. But with that, we'll get right into our NFL season predictions here as we bring up everything that we need for that. All right, beautiful. There we go. I could have paused that at any time. I just kind of enjoyed the rhythm of it. But anyway, I'll let me bring this up here. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And just so y'all hear Billy's lovely voice.
NFL season predictions with Trevor Dinsmore.
There we go. Appreciate you, Billy, for making that recording for me and obviously submitting your picks in for this week. On tap, we got 3 teams finishing off the AFC East. We got the Patriots, and then delving into the NFC North, the always competitive NFC North, at least in recent times, with the Vikings and the Lions. So we're going to start out. I'm just going to run through all of my picks for New England, and then I'm going to run through all of Billy's picks for New England rather than do this 3x3x3 thing. I really didn't find the rhythm last week with that, so we're just going to run through mine, then we're going to run through his, and then we'll keep on trucking here. Okay, what do we got here for the New England Patriots? A lot of prime time for them. Looks like they got what do we got? Seven of those on tap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually 6. They go week 1 Seattle, that's on a Wednesday. Week 7 at Chicago on a Thursday. They play in Munich week 10 against Detroit, week 12 at the Chargers on a Sunday, week 14 versus Minnesota on a Thursday, and then week 15 at Kansas City. That is on a Monday. Then just let me pull their roster up here a little bit. Obviously, big addition with them, A.J. Brown, all-pro receiver with the Eagles, and probably the best deep threat that Drake May could ask for in this offseason. So that's a huge one. Obviously, they got Romeo Doubs. Kayshon Boutte will be back. Travion Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson. They'll be all set at running back there. Christian Gonzalez coming back, Robert Spillane, and several others on the defense that'll just a lot of consistency on that side of the ball for them. Added Elijah Vera Tucker on the offensive line. Will Campbell coming back? We'll see how well he does after that Super Bowl performance, and obviously Hunter Henry as well. Coming off, Patriots are kind of coming off to, not just the Super Bowl season, but then leading into the offseason with Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini and that whole business that we've covered several times on here. So we'll see how that affects them going into the season as we go weeks 1 through 3. I'll still do this 3-week cadence, but I'm going to do mine and then Billy's. Does that make sense? Okay. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's just roll with that. Let's see how it works. I think I'm going to like it. Okay, New England at Seattle versus Pittsburgh at the Jags. Ironically enough, I have them beating Pittsburgh. We always seem to struggle in Foxborough, do the Steelers. And it doesn't really matter, doesn't really matter what version of the Steelers team is playing them. We tend to struggle. Even when we forced 5 turnovers in our most recent matchup, we only won by 3 points. That was the most Steelers victory of all freaking time. So that's the only win in that stretch. Lose to Seattle, lose to the Jags on the road. 12th man's going to be tough to beat. And then, of course, going to that warm environment down in Florida early on in the season. Weeks 4 to 6 at Buffalo versus Vegas versus the Jets. Lose at Buffalo in their new stadium where apparently you can't see anything because the designers just didn't design the stadium where you could see the whole field from every seat. I don't know. I'm not an architect, and apparently neither is the person who designed that stadium. Regardless, Bills win that one. Beat Vegas, beat the Jets. Sorry, Coach, if you're watching. Which reminds me, I probably got to put up these comments. There we go. Just in case you want to participate and see yourselves live and on screen. Again, I'm still getting used to all of this. Sorry, Coach, if you're watching. Las Vegas, going to lose that one to the New England Patriots. And then, of course, I hope no Jets fans are watching because, well, first of all, what are you doing here? We're a Steelers podcast. Steelers favored podcast, I should say. And 2, like you're still into football. Like I don't know how that works with being a Jets fan. It's like being a Pirates fan and watching baseball. Only psychopaths really do that. And guilty as charged, I guess. Weeks 7 through 9, you go at Chicago, at Miami, then versus Green Bay. Shockingly, a loss to Miami within that span, and then, of course, lost to Chicago on the road. Caleb Williams gets the better of Drake May. That's probably going to be a tight game and a good one to watch. Good QB battle. And a good coaching battle, defensive philosophy versus offensive philosophy. Mike Vrabel versus Ben Johnson. So be a nice little chess match to watch out for there. And then they beat Green Bay. Somehow they beat Green Bay, coming off that emotional low of losing to what's expected to be an abysmal Miami team. Their bye week 11, around that. Week 10, they go at Detroit. And then week 12 at the Chargers. I got them beating Detroit, shockingly. Which Detroit, another team we're going to cover here in a moment. This is one of those that they kind of like get away. Patriots defense makes a play in the 4th quarter. Somebody fumbles the ball. Maybe it's Gibbs. Maybe it's Goff. Maybe it's Amon-Ra. Maybe it's Laporta. Who knows? Somebody makes a mistake. And New England comes out on top. Then week 12, losing to the Chargers. Similar philosophies there as well. Run first, defensive centric mindset from Jim Harbaugh, coach of the Chargers, and that ought to be a low-scoring, fairly competitive game. Weeks 13 through 15, you go versus Bills, versus Vikings at Chiefs. I got them losing to the Bills, clean sweep the Bills over the Patriots in 2026, no doubt about it on my end. Beating Minnesota, who announced today, to the surprise of no one, Kyler Murray is going to be the starting quarterback. I mean, it was either him or 9. And 9 is not, no. As in throws for 9 passing yards per game. Yeah. Let's roll with that. Okay. Love that. But anyway, and then lose to the Chiefs. Kansas City vying for a playoff spot at that point, vying for the division. I'll take the Chiefs over them any day of the week. Week 16 through 18, you go at Jets versus Denver versus Miami. I will say they win 2 of those 3, lose to Denver. It's at home, but Denver's used to playing in that cold environment. Lose to Denver. Bo Nix, Sean Payton takes care of business against them. Again, beat the Jets, beat Miami, have that just home split for the divisional rival there. Finish out the season 8-9 at a losing record coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. And I don't know what the stats are on like post Super Bowl appearance, and then you have a losing record. I don't know what the statistics and the analytics are on all that. But I know it's probably more common than I think, and I think the Patriots are going to fall victim to that this upcoming season. Over under for FanDuel on the win total 10.5. So I have them taking the under, then 10th on the strength of schedule. So not a very tough schedule, but still some tough matchups in there. You got to play the NFC North. You got to play the Chargers, Buffalo twice, of course, Seattle. Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be fun. And Seattle, that's the opener. That's the opener for the season. Neglected to mention that. But anyway, moving on here, we'll go over to Billy's side of it. I won't run through all the analytics and maybe what he's thinking unless I kind of see something pop on my screen. But otherwise, just run through it here. Seattle, Pittsburgh, then the Jaguars. He has them going 1-2 in that spot. Ironically enough, we have them both beating Pittsburgh, New England over Pittsburgh for both of us. Lose to Seattle, lose to the Jags, and then lose to Buffalo, beat Vegas, beat the Jets. So we're very in lockstep through the first 6 games there, 3-3, and have them beating the exact same teams. Week 7, 8, 9 at Chicago, at Miami, versus Green Bay, 1-2 in this span. Again, pretty similar, but he has them beating Miami instead of Green Bay. Weeks 10 and 12, right around that week 11 bye, lose at Detroit, win at the Chargers. Lose at Detroit, win at the Chargers. So reverse again, same record going into weeks 13 through 15. Beat Buffalo, beat Minnesota, lose to Kansas City. I think that's a little shade on Buffalo right there. Taylor, if you're watching, I'm sorry. Your husband picked New England over Buffalo right after you had your kid. What that means for your relationship, I don't know. I'll probably talk to Billy later about it, and he might tell me. Maybe I stirred the pot. Maybe I didn't. We'll see. I hope I did. Just I like the team. Then week 16 through 18 at the Jets, versus Denver, at Miami. Same as me. Beat the Jets, beat Miami. Lose to Denver. They go 9-8. So 1 game difference for the both of us. Again, under that 10.5 win total on the 10th ranked strength of schedule for New England. And that will put New England at 2nd place in the AFC East. So that means both of us, Billy and I, have the Bills taking the division for what it's worth. Maybe a little redemption for Billy there after picking New England over Buffalo. Love to see it, truly. Alrighty. What else do we got here? No. Okay. Yeah, that's it for New England. We'll move on to the Vikings. Obviously, you got a quarterback. No longer a quarterback controversy going on. Otherwise, not a ton of personnel turnover. You still got Jets coming back, obviously. Hawkinson, Van Ginkel on the defensive side, Byron Murphy, Caleb Banks, a lot of those guys on the defensive side of the ball for Brian Flores. Still a Brian Flores-led defense, and it's what carried them to, damn near a division title last season, or damn near a playoff spot, I should say. But anyway, for the Minnesota Vikings leading out weeks 1 through 3, you go versus Green Bay, at Chicago, at Tampa. I have them only beating Tampa in this stretch. I think they're going to have a very tough time defensively, perhaps containing Chicago. And then with Green Bay, I think that's just going to be a defensive battle that they don't win. Beat Tampa Bay, though. I'll give them Tampa Bay. even though they're headed down to Tampa Bay. They're not home where they can, skull Vikings. Week 6 is their bye. Weeks 4 and 5, you go versus Miami at New Orleans. I only have them beating New Orleans here. I gave this one to Miami. I think it was a week ago. So I was kind of hesitant on that one, but I had to find some wins for Miami. I had to make them feel good a little bit. So that's what I'm going to roll with. At New Orleans, victory there as well. Similar environment to their home stadium. It's in a dome, Louisiana. It's not the Louisiana Superdome anymore, but it used to be the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Wait, no, that's Atlanta. What's New Orleans? I can't remember. Bad memory. It's my busy season for tax, so it's like just blows up every day. But yeah, so 2 and 3 headed into their bye week. Then after their bye week, they go Indianapolis at Detroit and then versus Buffalo. I have them losing to Detroit and Buffalo here for obvious reasons, and then beat Indianapolis. Indianapolis starting to sputter. This might be the first sign of all hell breaking loose, I would think. Weeks 10 to 12 at Green Bay, at San Fran versus Atlanta. I have them beating Green Bay here, division rival. Figured I'd get them to split with them. It's a road split, which is not really how I like to do the splits, but I'll do it this time around. Lose to San Fran, lose to Atlanta. Weeks 13 through 15, you go versus Carolina, at New England, then versus Detroit. Weirdly enough, I have them beating Detroit here. This another one, a defensive battle that Detroit somehow let slip. They were prone to doing that last year. And maybe this is a game where what's the coach's name? Dan Campbell takes one too many chances on fourth down, or maybe a fake punt, or just takes an unwarranted chance on things. That's my opinion on that. Week 16 through 18, you go versus Washington at the Jets versus Chicago. Only beat the Jets in this stretch. Only beat the Jets. Washington, so long as they stay healthy, that should be a good matchup for Minnesota. I would think to lose. Close game, though, probably like a 20-17 or like a 28-24 type game. Close. And again, lose to Chicago, getting swept by Chicago. I'm decently high on Chicago this year, maybe higher than I should be, but they did beef up the defense, and obviously they still got Ben Johnson. Lady Luck was on their side last year, so I think they'll regress a little bit, but beating Minnesota twice I don't think is out of the realm of possibility. They go 6-11 on my tally, 8.5 on the win total. So got 2 unders so far, 2 unders. 15th ranked on the strength of schedule. Primetime games included in there. Week 9 versus Buffalo on a Monday. Week 11, San Fran on a Sunday. Week 14, New England on a Thursday. Week 15, Detroit on a Sunday night. So, yes, good luck. Good luck, Minnesota. Good freaking luck. Hopefully the defense is able to carry them again, because I don't know if the quarterback play will. I don't know how good a fit Kyler Murray is in that offense, and Kevin O'Connell not exactly proving to be the quarterback guru he's all beefed up to be. Just my thoughts. Then, of course, last but not least, we got to talk about the Detroit Lions. After I talk about Minnesota for Billy's end. I almost forgot about you, Billy. I am so freaking sorry. Anyway, weeks 1 through 3, Green Bay at Chicago at Tampa, 3 losses. So, I don't know why he hasn't losing to Tampa. But he actually has a very, very piss-poor record for the Vikings. So if any Vikings fans are watching, look away. Just cover your ears, look away. You can pause and then come back in 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Not that long. So, 0-3 to start. Miami and New Orleans headed into the bye, only beating Miami there. Indianapolis, Detroit, Buffalo, week 7, 8, and 9, 0-3. 10 through 12 at Green Bay, at San Fran versus Atlanta, only beating Atlanta, which I could definitely see. Atlanta tends to let some of those easier ones slip. You never know what they're going to do. I don't know what you would compare them to. maybe the Pittsburgh Pirates of football, because they're kind of mediocre. You don't really know who they're going to beat. Sometimes they beat the Dodgers, but then they'll lose to the Mets on the next game. So, yeah, there you go. 13 through 15, you go versus Carolina, at New England versus Detroit, only beating Carolina in that stretch, and then only beating the Jets in the last 3 weeks. Washington at the Jets versus Chicago for a 4-13 record. 4-13. Rough times in Minnesota. I'd love to know, and maybe I'll ask him later tonight when I talk to him, the thinking behind such a low output this year. Do things just absolutely fall apart for Kevin O'Connell? Does he wear out his welcome in Minnesota? Is he more on the hot seat than a lot of experts are predicting? I don't know. I'd love to hear Billy's thoughts on that. Maybe he can give us some insight whenever he comes back, or if he's watching, maybe just type it in the comments, man. Just, boop, boop, boop. Let me know. Anyway, now I can move on to Detroit. And of course, the Detroit Lions, very disappointing season last year, missing out on the playoffs. Some injury bad luck, some poor coaching decisions down the stretch, and ultimately things just kind of fell apart for them. But looking to come back, they signed up their running back. Amon-Ra's back, Williams is back, Tesla's back, Laporta's back, Penei Sewell, all those guys on the offensive line. And they signed up Isaiah Pacheco to be the backup to Jahmyr Gibbs, which I think is a pretty solid signing. I think he'll get some maybe fringe flex options. Isaiah Pacheco, maybe, probably. Jahmyr Gibbs probably going to get a bulk of the workload, but if Jahmyr Gibbs ever goes down, saying could be reasonable. And then, returning a lot of the guys on the defensive side, of course, Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph out dealing with injuries in camp right now. So we'll see if they're able to return by the time the season begins. What do we got here? Easiest schedule. They get the easiest schedule. They're first on the strength of schedule. Primetime games include at Buffalo week 2 on a Thursday, week 4 at Carolina on a Sunday, week 10 versus New England. That's that Munich game. Week 15 at Minnesota on a Sunday, and then week 16 versus the Giants on a Monday, week 12 versus Chicago as well on a Thanksgiving. I almost forgot about the Thanksgiving games for a lot of these teams. And, of course, Lions play on every Thanksgiving. So how much do I know? Not a ton. Great thing to be saying on a sports podcast, right? Where I'm supposed to be expressing knowledge and my opinions and stuff. I don't know shit. Anyway. Weeks 1 through 3, they go versus New Orleans, at Buffalo, and versus the New York Football Jets. 2-1 in this stretch, losing to Buffalo. That's it, losing to Buffalo. I think they're too overpowered for New Orleans, and then of course the Jets are the Jets. I don't think they're powerful enough for Buffalo. They still got to find themselves a little bit. I think enough kind of rattled them last season where they got to find themselves again. That's going to be one of those finding themselves games. Is against Buffalo, where they come out with a loss, unfortunately. Weeks 4 through 5. Week 6 is their bye at Carolina, at Arizona. Lose to Carolina. That's their wake-up call, because after this, they go on a nice little stretch. Beat Arizona. Lose to Carolina, beat Arizona, headed into that week 6 bye. Week 7 through 9 versus Green Bay, versus Minnesota, at Miami. 2 division matchups in there. They sweep them. No problem. And then Miami's Miami. Weeks 10 through 12 versus New England versus Tampa at Chicago. Versus New England versus Tampa versus Chicago. 3 straight home games there. They drop one to the Pats. Close. Very, very, very close game. Could be a 1-point game. And again, the defense somehow bails New England out. Detroit makes a mistake. Bad coaching decision late in the game. Costs them the game. And that's one of the a few times that they lose this season, at least on my board. Then you go at Atlanta versus Tennessee, at Minnesota. I have them splitting with Minnesota here, lose on the road, but beat Atlanta, beat Tennessee. No problem. No freaking problem. Matter of fact, I think they might light up Tennessee for one of those 52-point games that they'd like to put up. So there you go. Week 16 through 18, you go Giants, Chicago, and then at Green Bay. Giants, Chicago, then at Green Bay. Actually, at Chicago as well. Lose to Chicago. They split with them. They go 4-2 in the division. Not a problem there. Finish out the season beating the Giants and then beating Green Bay, winning that division. At least I would think winning that division. I still have Green Bay and who else? Green Bay and Chicago, to do. So we'll see how it shakes out for them. But I would think 12-5, probably good enough to win the division. It's the NFC North. We don't know. And I say this honestly. I don't know either. That wasn't a spoiler. That was a slip of the tongue. I'm sorry. Sorry for getting everybody's hopes up. We caught him. We caught him in the act. No, you didn't. You just fucked up. It's fucked up. My bad. Anyway, 12-5 going over the 10.5 win total FanDuel has set for them. And again, easiest schedule in the NFL, prime for a bounce back season for Detroit. And then Billy, for his money, looks like, what do we got here for them? Weeks 1-3, New Orleans at Buffalo versus the Jets. 1-2, only beating New Orleans here, but it goes way up from here. He has them beating Carolina, beating Arizona, headed into their week 6 bye, beat Green Bay, Minnesota, Miami, 5 straight wins in a row right after that. Get back to a 6-2 record, 6-2, good to go. Lose to New England. I guess we're on the same page with the, maybe late game mistake, maybe coaching mistake, something along those lines. Be good for our picks, not for Detroit, obviously. Versus Tampa, versus Chicago, at Atlanta, weeks 11-13, losing to Chicago, beating Tampa, beating Atlanta, no problem there. Probably blowing out the Titans again. Beating Minnesota. I think he actually has them. Does he have them? Yeah, sweeping Minnesota, splitting with Green Bay, but beating the Giants and Chicago, losing to Green Bay on the way out, but still obtaining a 12-5 record. So me and Bill here in lockstep when it comes to these Detroit Lions. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. It makes sense to me too with the strength of schedule, with who they have returning. I know they lost Montgomery in a trade, but still, they signed up Gibbs to, I think it's the richest contract in the NFL right now among running backs. I have those numbers. Don't worry. We're going to talk about how much running backs are getting paid right now. It's good for the running back market. It's pretty good. Him and Bijan. It's just ink. Just pen to paper. Pretty good. But anyway, so positive outlook on the Detroit Lions. Not so much for the Patriots or the Minnesota Vikings this week. But as it stands, we're going to be doing 2 teams for the remainder of these NFL season predictions. We got the Packers and Bears next week, rounding out the NFC North. We'll figure out who wins that division and who could possibly, bump up to a number 1 seed on that side of the pond. Then, of course, 8-25 and 9-1, our last 2 weeks of officially making picks before we, decide in our playoff bracket and do all that fun stuff. You go Browns, Bengals, and then Ravens, Steelers, respectively, in those 2 weeks with the AFC North rounding those out. Man, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Billy will be back again the 25th, so he'll be back for the AFC North. He will be back for the AFC North, and I cannot wait to diagnose it with him. I cannot wait to obviously shit on the Ravens and then shit on everybody else that gets in the Steelers' way. That'd be awesome. Let's get Rodgers. Let's get Rodgers something on his way out. You know what I mean? I think that'd be cool. I think that would be very, very cool of the Steelers. Just my thoughts. But anyway, so next on tap, as I have it written down on my trusty paper right here. We're going to run our power rankings, Dinsy's power rankings. And you know what? I'm going to play a little song for y'all while I pull up this banner. I don't have an interlude yet. I'm just going to play a song because my throat needs a break too. So let me toss one on here. What do we got here? There we go. Little ASMR for y'all. I kind of like that. I hope he uses that. That's just calms me down, man. Calms me down. But anyway, these are my power rankings. There are many like it, but these ones are mine. And we're talking about 2027 NFL Hall of Famers. Of course, we saw last week with the NFL Hall of Fame game between Carolina and the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals. Probably one of the best preseason games I've ever seen. What's his name? Freaking Carson Beck lit it up. Haynes King had that diving touchdown at the end. It was crazy. It was crazy. And on top of that, you had guys like Adam Vinatieri. You had guys like Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Drew Brees, Roger Craig going into the Hall of Fame. One of the most star-studded classes in recent memory. So I got to give them a nod. And I will say for Roger Craig, it's about damn time. Okay. It's one of those guys. It's about damn time. He was a quintessential part of those 49ers Super Bowl runs. So consistent. One of those early guys that could catch out of the backfield too, revolutionize the position in a lot of ways. So I got to give Roger Craig a bit of a nod. But anyway, I want to talk about some future Hall of Famers here as I pull up. I need to pull up a couple of sources. So I got to verify my facts. I can't remember these offbeat, ladies and gentlemen. I don't have that good a memory. I just have that good a memory as to what I witnessed and how I felt when I watched these players. So, Dinsy's Power Rankings. 2027 potential NFL Hall of Famers. Guys that have been, there's a few guys on there that have been waiting for a while. You had a couple first ballot guys. You got a good mix. And yes, he's on here. Him, the guy that threw the football for the Steelers for a long time. He's on here. It's just a matter of where. Where he is might shock you based on my biases. But anyway, starting out at number 10 on Dinsy's Power Rankings of 2027 NFL Hall of Famers, I want to toss out a former Saint, former Viking, and a former Seattle Seahawk, a defensive tackle by the name of Kevin Williams. Kevin Williams, 6-time All-Pro, all 2000s team, had 63 career sacks in 129 value over 203 NFL games, 370 solo tackles, 9 forced fumbles. Again, 6-time Pro Bowler. And what else do we got here? NFL All-Pro. How many times? 5 NFL All-Pros. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really remember Kevin Williams a whole lot. I just remember him being one of the most uber consistent defensive linemen in the NFC. Obviously that's where he spent all of his career. He was on some teams that I really didn't pay attention to, but I think the accolades speak for themselves. So I will give him the nod. Gets a little more spicy as we go along here, because at number 9, I have one of Peyton Manning's favorite targets, not his absolute favorite target, but one of his favorite targets is Reggie Wayne. Reggie Wayne at number 9. 6-time Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro 1 time, and a Super Bowl champion. 1,070 career receptions, 14,345 yards. Once you hit that 1,000 receptions mark, I think that kind of pegs you for potential Hall of Fame status. The wide receiver position is very crowded. It's very crowded. There's a lot of talent that revolutionized the position in the 2000s, 2010s, and even before that still have yet to get in. Another one of those gentlemen I'm going to be bringing up here in a minute. So it's a tough position. It's a tough draw to differentiate yourself. But I think Reggie Wayne, long-standing, Marvin Harrison's in there. Let's get Reggie Wayne in there too. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense to me. Then at number eight on my power rankings list this week might shock you because this guy was the bane of my existence for a long time. Probably banged up Ben Roethlisberger a couple times, banged up one of our running backs, banged up, some wide receiver, banged up the Steelers. Just was a thorn in our side for a while. Talk about linebacker Terrell Suggs. Terrell Suggs, baby. Terrell Suggs. Played what? Jeez. Oh, my God. From 2003 to 2019, had a nice long NFL career. Played till he was 37 years old. And a hell of a prime this guy had. 7-time Pro Bowler, one-time first-team All-Pro, Defensive Player of the Year in 2011, Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2003, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and, of course, finished out his illustrious career with Arizona and with Kansas City at the very end. Played, 15 games even in his last season. For the most part, uber healthy, only missed time in, 3 NFL seasons? So it's kind of, that's pretty tough for a linebacker, a spot that definitely requires a lot of durability. You're prone to a lot of injuries at that spot. But yeah, again, thorn in the side of a lot of people, thorn in the side, definitely of me. 139 career sacks in 244 career games. What do we got here? 895 combined tackles, over 200 QB hits. And then forced fumbles is 39 forced fumbles in his career. That's kind of insane. Also tacked on 7 interceptions and a couple returned for a touchdown. Both of those in the 2008 season. So if you think back to those 2008 Ravens versus the 2008 Steelers, Terrell Suggs was a huge part of that. Huge part of that rivalry, huge part of NFL history. Let's get Terrell Suggs in the hall as well. I mentioned we were going to be bringing up another wide receiver and a couple more pass catchers on this list. One that has been waiting for the call for a long time now, retired in 2009, didn't have a terribly long career, but just had an absolutely stellar prime. Part of the greatest show on turf. I'm talking about Torrey Holt. Torrey Holt at number 7 on my power rankings. Had 920 career receptions, 13,382 yards. That's 14.5 per catch, 74 touchdowns total. Had a couple seasons with over 100 receptions, 7-time Pro Bowler, first team All-Pro one time on the All-2000s team. If you're on an all-decade team, I feel like you should be in the hall. Just a thought. Just a thought. Just clear the air on that one. And then, of course, won the Super Bowl with Kurt Warner in Kurt Warner's rookie year. Was also AP second team one time and was 6th in Offensive Player of the Year rankings in 2003. So accolades, again, speak for themselves. Impact on the game speaks for itself. Doesn't have that 1,000 receptions threshold that Reggie Wayne has. But as far as a big play threat goes in that era, you don't get much better than Torrey Holt and Isaac Bruce. I mean, it's kind of insane. Both of those guys did as well as they did in that offense. Usually you just have one primary pass catcher. Those guys had 2. If Isaac Bruce wasn't open, you throw it to Torrey Holt. And if Torrey Holt wasn't open, you throw it to Isaac Bruce. Not that hard to figure out. And, of course, too, stayed with one team for most of his career, played his last season, 2009, with the Jaguars. Number 6 on my list of future NFL Hall of Famers for the 2027 season. At least that's what we're hoping, right? I got to bring up another rival of the Pittsburgh Steelers, another man that made my life and the lives of Steeler fans a living hell for a long, long time. That is Rob Gronkowski. Rob Gronkowski. Similar to Torrey Holt, might not have the longevity that you're looking for, but as far as just being an absolute beast and impact on the game, it's insane that this guy isn't really in the hall yet. Or excuse me, actually, this is his first year of eligibility. My bad. So I guess it's not that insane. But yeah, if you ever watch this guy play, he wouldn't even study route concepts. He would just run straight. Brady would throw the ball to him, and he'd just catch it over everybody. He's the 6'2" kid playing with the fifth graders. It was kind of insane. Only he was that in the NFL. Caught 92 career touchdowns, 9,286 career receiving yards, 621 receptions, and of course won a couple Super Bowls. 4 of them to be exact. 4. 5-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first team All-Pro on the All 2010s team, AP Comeback Player of the Year in 2014. Speaks for itself. And again, if you ever watch the guy play, off the field issues aside, he's insane. He's just insane. That's just how it goes. Number five on my all-time, no, not my all-time, number 5 on my Hall of Famers list, power rankings for 2027, is an offensive lineman. Played most of his time at Cincinnati. I keep, 1 second. Okay. One of the most durable guys in really Cincinnati history, offensive lineman history, so consistent throughout the late 90s and into the 2000s. Another thorn in the Steelers' side for some time, 4-time Pro Bowler, 3-time first team All-Pro. I'm talking about Willie Anderson. One of the best offensive tackles in the 2000s, one of the best offensive tackles that I've ever seen play. Obviously, you don't really keep a whole lot of stats for offensive tackles, but let's just say his name didn't get brought up a whole lot, and that's a good thing for an offensive lineman. But yeah, insanely durable, only missed time in a couple of different NFL seasons, 184 starts in 195 games. Was awarded an annual, approximate value, which is something mathematical. I don't know. And it assigns one number to the value of a player. His is 117, which is kind of nutty, and we love to see it. But yeah, again, can't really. Okay, here we go. Here's some stats. I found some. We got it. 13 career holding penalties against this guy, 22 career false starts. What else do we got here? And yeah, 38 career accepted penalties in 13 career seasons. Pretty good. Pretty consistent. I wish they had sacks allowed on here. I wonder if they have that. No, doesn't appear that they do. But anyway, Willie Anderson, number 5 on my list. As I bring up the next individual so I can talk about him a little bit. Another pass catcher. I see him kind of blurring out here, so let me close some things. There we go. All right, we're okay. We're chilling. Number 4 on my 2027 NFL Hall of Famers power rankings list is Jason Witten. 11-time All-Pro, 2012 Walter Payton Man of the Year, 2-time first team All-Pro, 1,228 career receptions, 13,046 yards, 74 touchdowns, approximate value 116 in 17 career years. And again, not a very injured guy. Not a very injured guy at all. Only missed time in one career NFL season. Had a couple different years with 90-plus receptions. Actually, it looks like 4 different years, and including a season 2012 where he had 110 receptions going along with 3 touchdowns and 1,039 yards. Again, one of the most consistent guys you'll ever see at the position. where he ranks all time. I think he's just behind Tony Gonzalez in career receiving yards. So if that gives you any idea as to how good this gentleman was, former Raider, former Cowboy. Just had a crazy run, man. Had a crazy ass run and a very consistent run. Was only drafted in the third round in the 2003 NFL draft, played through the 2020 season, had retired for 2018 and then came back, had a 63 reception season for Dallas and then retired after a 13 reception season for Las Vegas. But again, one of those guys, if you ever watched him play, he was just a thorn in your side. If you played him, he was so consistent. He was so reliable. He could block. He could catch. He could run after the catch. He could bowl you over. He could spin around you. He could do it all. So I got to give him the nod there. And I got gentleman I want to bring up here at number 2 that had one of the best primes at his position of all time. That's Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson is number 3. I don't know if I said 2. Number 3. On my 2027 NFL Hall of Famers power rankings. You got a 7-time Pro Bowler, 4-time first-team All-Pro, NFL MVP in 2012. I believe that's the year he came back from a torn ACL as well, so take that for what it's worth. All 2010s team, AP Offensive Player of the Year in 2012, 2007 Offensive Rookie of the Year, Burt Bell Award winner twice. Made a crap ton. I think I said it. Made a crap ton of Pro Bowls. Unfortunately, was never able to win a Super Bowl. But when he was in his prime, man, it was absolutely insane to watch. Of course, that famed 2012 season, 2,097 yards on 348 rushing attempts. Had 12 rushing touchdowns in that season, 13 total touchdowns. Again, damn near 15,000 career rushing yards. Had some durability issues toward the end of his career, but still played into his age 36 season with Tennessee and with Seattle. So, stayed somewhat durable toward the end there. Served more of a committee back role, but in his prime, man, he was the best. He was the absolute best, and there was no debating full game rushing yards, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, let's get AP in there. Let's get AP in there. I mean, I don't think that one's too much of a debate, right? I could be wrong. I don't think this next one's really a debate either. I don't think these last two are really a debate. It's just a matter of where I put them that maybe might stir some controversy. That's all. At number 2 on my NFL power rankings, on my Dinsy's power rankings for 2027 NFL Hall of Famers, Pro Football Hall of Famers. Don't worry, I'll learn how to say that at some point. I don't know when. It'll be soon, I hope. This is where I have Big Ben Roethlisberger. I know, Steeler fans. I know. But there's a very important reason why, and I'll put the cart before the horse here. It's because I have Bill Belichick at number 1. Bill Belichick at number 1. 6-time Super Bowl champion, architect of the Patriots dynasty. What else is there to say? Big Ben Roethlisberger, top 10 all-time in passing yards when he retired. All-time Steelers passing yards leader, 2-time Super Bowl champion. Of course, had one of the most famous throws in NFL history, Super Bowl 43. What's not to say about Big Ben, including the off-the-field stuff early in his career. But, yeah, I wanted to put Ben number 1. I did. I tried to take my bias out of it as much as possible. So I put Belichick 1, Ben 2. Sorry, folks. For those that were expecting a Steelers player at the top there. Sorry. I had to take my bias out of it. I'm still gritting my teeth over it, as you can tell. But I'm happy with my list. That again, Dinsy's Power Rankings 2027 Hall of Famers, Going down 1 through 10, Bill Belichick, Big Ben, AP, Jason Witten, Willie Anderson, Gronk, Torrey Holt, Terrell Suggs, Reggie Wayne, and then Kevin Williams. Honorable mentions, I got to toss these guys out there. Hines Ward's been waiting forever, and Mike Tomlin even shouted him out before the Hall of Fame game. Let's get Hines Ward in there, please. Andrew Whitworth, well-deserving. Walter Payton Man of the Year, one of the most consistent left tackles you'll ever see. Antonio Brown's a controversial one, but the stats speak for themselves. The accomplishments speak for themselves. Did win a Super Bowl with Tom Brady in them, so, cool. Frank Gore, Richard Sherman, Eli Manning, Rodney Harrison, and Alex Mack, all up for potential ballot into the 2027 Pro Football Hall of Fame. Hopefully those guys are able to strengthen their case going forward. I know there's only so much room in any given year, but we'll see how well those gentlemen do in their specific candidacy. But yeah, let me get a swig of water here, and we'll move on here real quick. Gotta take a breath here too, man. Gotta take a breath. All right. But yeah, let me take this banner down here real quick. There we go. So did want to talk through some other headlines with y'all. I'll cover this really quickly because I only really know these topics on a surface level, especially one of the more sensitive topics that I think I've talked about in recent memory. But we'll talk about this first. And that is something that I alluded to earlier, in that running backs are finally getting paid. They are finally getting the recognition that they deserve. And yes, it's the cream of the crop getting what they deserve. The cream of the crop rises to the top, and as it has for Jahmyr Gibbs, who was rewarded a $67.5 million contract over the next 3 years. Bijan Robinson, same deal over the next 3 years, $22.5 million average annual value. And right behind them, you got Jonathan Taylor at $22 million a year, Saquon $20.6, Christian McCaffrey, CMC at $19, Achane is at $16, Derrick Henry's at $15, Breece Hall $14.5 million. And I remember not too long ago, a lot of running backs were struggling to get over that $10 million mark, and now you got, just 8 that I listed off there, probably a couple more that I can't really think of off the top of my head, getting paid. Well-deserved for NFL running backs, especially, Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan, easily number 1 and 2 in your fantasy drafts, probably all fantasy drafts, whether it's PPR, non-PPR, whether it's like a dynasty league or something like that, whatever. It's, it's insane how good those players are. And thankfully they are actually getting paid like it. Something else I wanted to talk about too, just because it's kind of ridiculous. But I also get and understand why it's happening. Enes Kanter and what's his name here? Royce White. Enes Kanter and Royce White, who have officially declared themselves for the WNBA draft, identified themselves as women, sparking this whole conversation with what's the lady's name? Kathy Engelbert, WNBA commissioner, and the higher-ups in the WNBA. Ongoing discussions basically about what is a woman, and who's allowed in our league. Are we going to allow transgender athletes in the league? Very touchy, very sensitive topic. Obviously has political connotations to it. So I just wanted to throw out there that I didn't think I'd be saying that in 2026. But again, I'm not terribly surprised, if that makes sense. I don't know. I hope the WNBA figures it out. If Kanter and Royce get in there, they're obviously going to dominate, and then that's going to open the door for trans athletes to go there, and is that going to devalue the women that are already in the league? I personally think so. It's just, I don't know, man. It's science. It's biology. I don't know. It's my opinion. I trust the science, right? Trust the science when it's convenient for you, apparently. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of folks coming out for and against this. A lot of folks within the WNBA, outside of the WNBA, giving their respective opinions. But the Players Union, for their money, came out with a statement saying, "We embrace justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion. Those are the values that unite the union and allow it to protect women's sports while creating transformational change. Hate, abuse, and demonization of any person or group of people, including transgender people, only fuel fear, division, and harm. We will continue to have hard conversations, but we will not be used as political pawns." To that, I say, too late. probably already kind of in that realm. Yeah, I'm going to stop talking about it before I really get myself into trouble. So, moving forward. Something I did want to mention too, I witnessed a Sports Illustrated post and read a Sports Illustrated article, came out yesterday. The FBI and the NCAA, they announced yesterday a collaborative effort to raise awareness and seek prevention of a troubling trend, and that is, of course, the online sexploitation and sextortion threats against NCAA athletes. Now, while this won't be like a lawmaking agency or like a regulatory oversight type of agency, it's more of a collaborative detection effort on the part of the NCAA and the FBI, and they're going to try and take preventative measures to do things, which obviously this is a big win. This is a big win. This is a big thing that the NCAA is doing, and this association, their role in this SI article is described as twofold. It's education and awareness, and that's warning athletes and the people around them of these sexploitation threats, as well as extortion threats, teach them best practices and, avoidance practices as to posting your private material that could be used for sextortion or sexploitation. The second role to be an informational liaison to the FBI. Now, while the NCAA can't police this themselves, it's really up to the FBI and other law enforcement agencies. They can be a whistleblower, so to speak. They can be, like they say here, an informational liaison. So I got to give big props to the NCAA and the FBI for collaborating on this, because this is an issue that I don't think is talked about enough. It's an issue that I don't think is talked about enough within the NCAA. I don't think it's talked about enough it just in society in general, the sextortion and sexploitation. And obviously, there's different types of, pornography, child pornography, all that. We could go really down a slippery slope with all this, but just focusing on the sexploitation and sextortion of these amateur athletes, these collegiate athletes, I think is much more of a conversation than, well, it should be much more of a conversation than what it currently is now. So hopefully I'm able to kind of kickstart that conversation here. And just to show you how big of a problem this is, 2025, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center received more than 75,000 submissions regarding sextortion and reported losses exceeding $44 million among NCAA athletes. And especially in this era of NIL, where athletes are making a lot of money, it's important that obviously that they plan for their financial future. In some likelihood, they're not going to be playing sports forever. So they're going to need to obviously, stow that money away and, be good to go. But the sextorters, the sexploitators, it's kind of sickening. It's kind of sickening to watch. And I don't really get how somebody could be of that mindset. I'll never understand that. I'll never understand the evil that those people try to enforce upon us and enforce upon those athletes. It's sad. It's really sad. And as a result of that, I'm just going to call them sextortionists. I think that's a hard enough thing to spell. So I'm going to toss the sextortionists on my shit list. I think I got that right. I think maybe, kind of, sort of. But again, yeah, a very sickening thing. Very sickening thing. We'll go from that right to actually the Yeet list, because I did want to talk about one individual who has made an impact on high school and collegiate athletes with something called the Bridgewater Act. I recall us talking about that not too long ago. Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater, longtime Detroit Lion, Minnesota Viking, played for a couple other teams in a backup role as well. Unfortunately, his prime was cut short due to I think it was an ACL injury, an Achilles injury back in 2018. That was pretty tough to see. Such a promising future, but he's still carved out a nice career for himself, and obviously he's having a nice social impact, a nice sports impact outside of on the field. So I got to give Teddy Two Gloves, Teddy Bridgewater, a nod as he announced his retirement this past week as a member of the. I almost spelled it wrong there. I put a double B there, but yeah, I'll fix that. I'll fix that. I think I have some whiteout somewhere. I will officially fix that, and then I'll show everybody next week that I actually fixed it. But yeah, Teddy Bridgewater, I got to give him the nod, man. He's a very upstanding citizen. Awesome, seems like he's an awesome dude from all accounts, and was a solid player in his day. Carved out a nice career for himself, even though it might not have been the career that he hoped for. So wish you well in retirement, of course, Mr. Bridgewater. Then what? One last thing here. Oh, be a man question of the week. Be a man question of the week. So let me cue that up here real quick. You got to figure out there. All right. Where's he at? There he is. Again, I like these songs. And just so you hear Billy's voice again.
Be a man question of the week with Trevor Dinsmore.
No, we only had to hear you once. That's it. I'll hear from you later tonight. Don't worry. I'll see you soon. But anyway, your Be a Man question of the week, as I pull up the banner. I have to remember all these steps that I have to do. Y'all ought to see this behind the scenes stuff. I might have to share my screen and show y'all at some point. There it is. There she be. So I got to take this bad boy down right there. There we go. Be a Man question of the week, rounding it out for this week's edition of Buckle Up with the Boys. How do you handle it when a long-standing relationship comes to an end? This is outside of like losing a loved one or, losing someone to being deceased. So how do you handle it when a long-standing relationship comes to an end? Obviously, it depends on how it comes to an end. If it's a little messy, it can be filled with a lot of anger, with a lot of frustration. But ideally, and this just happened to me very recently, a relationship that I was in with a female came to an end pretty abruptly, and took me a couple days to calm down, simmer down, and get over it. But ultimately, I had to talk to people. I had to talk to my love guru. I had to talk to my parents. I had to talk to even Billy. I'm still going to talk to him about this and how things ended. Obviously, won't get into the gory details, but it was very abrupt. It was very quick. But ultimately, you got to take a step back. First of all, realize what is the situation. What is the situation now that it's over? And how do you move forward? That's the biggest thing you got to focus on. It's done. The relationship's over. Can it be mended? Perhaps. Only time will tell. It's important to feel those feelings and to grieve that relationship ending. I always give myself 24 hours. I always give myself 24 hours to grieve a relationship. Grieve it. That way you don't carry it going into your future, right? That way, you grieve it, you process it, you learn the positive lessons that came out of it. And at the very least, hopefully you can grow from it. And then maybe you circle back around to that person. Maybe you don't. Maybe that person wasn't meant for you. Maybe that person wasn't of the right mentality for you to be in a relationship with them. It's a very complex thing, and it's a very case by case thing. But the biggest thing I do, again, take 24 hours to grieve. That's your process might be different, but I still think you have to grieve like you do grieve a death. You grieve someone not being here anymore. You have to grieve someone not being a part of your life anymore because they took up a lot of your headspace. They took up a piece of your heart if they really meant something to you. And yeah, it's a tough thing that you move on without them. Sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes, again, it gets messy. But I can't emphasize this enough. It's important to grieve it. If you don't grieve it, you're going to carry it with you into future relationships. And the bad juju from that relationship is just going to keep going with you. You're going to keep carrying that. And then you're going to pass it on to other people. Then they're going to carry it into their relationships. And, it's not going to be good vibes all around. But yeah, obviously encourage you all to answer that question for yourselves. These questions, of course, as I mentioned last week, they're not just for me. They're for everybody that watches us. They're for me and Bill. And they're for everybody, really. They're for everybody, period, not just everybody that watches us. So, yeah. I think that's all I got, man. I think that's all I got. Oh, Steeler football this Thursday, playing the Packers at 7:00, baby. Football is back. Football is back. Get your fantasy lineup set. Get your fantasy draft set. Start scouting. Start doing mock drafts because it's coming. It's coming at you hot and fucking heavy, and I have been waiting for so long because the Pirates now suck. As I accidentally, hit that. I keep Hulk smash, Hulk smash, Hulk gonna smash my TV if the Steelers don't win this week, even though it's a preseason game. I'm excited to get angry about football again. Just saying. I hope y'all are as well. Obviously, can't wait for the regular season, but football is football, and football is coming back on Thursday for your Pittsburgh Steelers, as well as for a variety of other teams. Whoever you like, I don't mind. As long as you watch football and as long as you tune in to Buckle Up with the Boys, we're good. I think that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. That is all I got. As such, I'm going to wrap things up here. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe out there. If anybody you know loves sports, your neighbor, your grandma, your weird guy that lives down the street, your dog, cat, aunt, uncle, cousin, fourth cousin, second cousin, eighth cousin, whoever it is, if they love sports, send them our way. We'll be sure to take care of them, okay? We'll be sure to take care of them. And, of course, we will be back next week, next Tuesday, 8/18, the year of our Lord 2026 at 8 p.m. with me. Just me, for one more week. That's all you have to put up with me, ladies and gentlemen. And then you get Billy back, okay? Okay, cool. All righty. God bless y'all. Take care, and we'll see you next week.